Justin was addicted to my pheromones. Even though we were both alphas, S grade, I used that to stay by his side for 3 years, and made a fortune in the process. Until one heat cycle, when he pushed me so hard that I went through a secondary differentiation, and got pregnant. My pheromone scent changed too, from cold cedarwood to sweet freesia. Not long ago, the doctor told me, "You've differentiated again, now as an omega, but a defective one. After aborting this first pregnancy, your chances of conceiving again are extremely low." Extremely low, which basically meant none. But years ago, I really wanted a child, someone in this world who shared my blood. After leaving the doctor's office, I didn't book the abortion. I crumpled up the test results, ready to throw them into the trash. Then a voice called out from behind me, "Morgan." The one chasing after me was the doctor's apprentice. I froze for a second before recognizing him. Greg? He was an alpha I'd met in the orphanage, adopted by a rich family in high school and sent abroad. I thought we'd never meet again. Greg chatted with me briefly, then his gaze dropped to the ultrasound paper in my hand, eyes dimming. "Morgan, you're married now, to a secondary differentiated omega?" That. I didn't know how to explain. Just then, a call came in, urgent and breathless. "Morgan, please come to the office immediately. Justin's having another episode." It was Justin's secretary, Jacob. Things sounded bad. I borrowed 2 omega suppressor injections from Greg, then rushed to the company by taxi. The lobby was full of people, but when the elevator doors opened on the top floor, there were only 2. Justin, nearly delirious from heat, and Jacob, clothes torn and disheveled. When he saw me, Jacob struggled to his feet, clutching a bleeding arm. He handed me the medicine and said hoarsely, "He won't let anyone near him. Please, help him." I nodded, took the suppressor, and pushed the door open. The office reeked of ambergris, thick and overpowering, almost choking the air itself. For an omega, that scent was lethal. Holding my breath, I gave myself another shot of suppressant, then pressed a hand over my nose and went in. Justin was leaning back on the couch, his Adam's apple moving as he gasped like a caged animal. I moved quietly, careful not to startle him, but when his red eyes finally locked on me, he lunged. The medicine and injectors scattered across the floor. Justin shielded the back of my head as he shoved me down, biting and kissing like a starving beast. His teeth sank deep into my gland. Normally, I could suppress him with my alpha pheromones, but now, I could only grit my teeth through the pain, fumbling for the suppressant on the carpet. When he wasn't looking, I stabbed the needle into him. "Morgan." Some sanity flickered in his eyes, but when he inhaled my now scentless gland, he kept biting, desperate to pour his pheromones into me, until my throat tightened and my vision blurred. He didn't know that his ambergris pheromones were finally able to merge with my glands, seep into my blood. 20 minutes later, his eyes faded back to their usual hazel. When he saw me limp beneath him like a broken doll, his face went pale. He quickly lifted me onto the sofa and cleaned my wounds. The back of my neck was a mess of blood. His voice came out hoarse. "Why didn't you suppress me with your pheromones?" To him, my scent was both medicine and addiction. The contract between us had 3 months left. I'd been helping him wean off for half a year. Guess it worked, just not the way I planned. I smiled faintly, because this way takes less effort, and it doesn't hurt as much. Justin's hand pressed harder on the wound, deliberately. The pain almost slipped past my lips, but I swallowed it down. "Morgan." After bandaging me, he pulled me into his arms from behind, voice trembling. "Next time, just knock me out. Don't get hurt again." I smiled and said okay. That was a lie. That night, when his condition flared again, I let him bite me until my shoulder bled. Knock out my sugar daddy? Not happening. This time, after he finally passed out, I decided to carry him home myself. When I stepped outside, I ran into Jacob, who had been waiting all afternoon. My eyes flicked to his bandaged arm. "Your hand." Clearly another casualty of Justin's earlier breakdown. But when Jacob saw the gauze and red marks on my neck, his eyes reddened and he gave a bitter smile. "It's fine. As long as he's better. Just, don't tell him I got hurt." I nodded, pulled out some cash, and shoved it into his hand. "Work injury. Medical bill." I got off halfway home to buy a new pheromone patch, only 20 minutes late, and still ran straight into Justin, barefoot in the snow, searching for me. I pulled down my hat and mask, tilted my head with a grin. "Looking for me, honey?" Justin froze, eyes rimmed red, then rushed forward to hold me tight. "Why was your phone off? Why didn't you leave a note? Why didn't you take me with you?" "Morgan, The rest caught in his throat. I understood, so I hugged him back, patting his back gently. "It's just your heat, love. You always get anxious about the meds. It'll pass." For 3 whole days, Justin lost control, pouring his pheromones into my glands like a man possessed. And I fought just as hard to stay conscious, suppressing my own pheromones from leaking out. But the more I resisted, the rougher he became. He grabbed my face from behind, his voice low and desperate. "Morgan, why can't I smell your pheromones? Your face is lying to me. You didn't feel anything, did you?" "No, that's not." "Don't worry," he said, breath hot against my skin, "I'll make you feel it." I tried to breathe. "Can you just listen to me for a second?" He only smiled faintly. "Tell me, who's being rewarded here, huh?" By the fourth day, I was barely standing. Still, I bit down the pain and dragged myself to the set. The new show was holding its opening ceremony. But the moment I stepped into the dressing room, my agent, Kelly, blocked my way with a grim expression. "What's your plan now?" he asked. I could tell he already knew what was going on. "Too tired to pretend," I said flatly, "hide it. Until the contract ends. It's just 3 months. No one will notice before then." Kelly's eyes flashed with anger. "Why not get rid of it? End things with him completely? Your career's still rising, and you know Justin's temper. He despises illegitimate children and omegas." My hand froze halfway to the costume rack. Of course I knew. The year Justin first differentiated, his stepmother's illegitimate son, a manipulative omega, used pheromones to push him into a breakdown. He almost committed an unforgivable crime because of it. Since then, every heat cycle sent him spiraling, and he grew to loathe every illegitimate child and omega in existence. He couldn't even stand the scent of omega pheromones. Just a whiff made him physically ill. And now I'd become one of them, pregnant with his child. We were never meant to last. Kelly's voice cut through my thoughts. "Do you realize the consequences if you keep this baby? The man who built your career could destroy it just as easily." I already booked the appointment. "Go to the hospital and take care of it." Outside, the wind was sharp and cold. Bare branches bent under a blanket of snow. A clump of it fell onto my head, soaking through my hat. Sticky, heavy, but I didn't move it. I sat in the obstetrics waiting area, staring blankly ahead. Kelly had already made the appointment. 3 people were still ahead of me. Then my phone rang, an unfamiliar number from South City. I hesitated a few seconds before answering. It was the orphanage director, greeting me warmly as always. But I wasn't in the mood. After a few polite words, I asked directly, "Is it money again?" Silence for a few seconds, then a forced laugh. "You know how it is, Morgan. A dozen kids just finished high school this year. Like you once did, all dreaming of college." I didn't ask more. I just transferred $1 million into the usual account. Back when I couldn't even afford food but still wanted to study acting, it was the director who paid for my tuition out of pocket. So this was the least I could do. When I looked up again, only one person remained ahead in line. That's when Greg appeared. He looked surprised and pleased. "Morgan, are you here with your Omega partner for the procedure?" I froze, quickly crumpling the appointment slip in my hand. The shame hit like a wave, being caught here, by someone who'd once looked up to me. I never went through with the operation. Greg pulled me into his office instead, insisting we catch up. "When I was adopted, I wanted to come back and find you," he said softly. "But my adoptive parents were strict. I just graduated from Germany this year." He smiled then, eyes bright. "And look at you now, you made it. A real star." "Made it?" I laughed quietly. I didn't enter show business for the money, but I'd long since forgotten why I started. I was about to offer him dinner when a familiar voice cut through the air. "Morgan, what are you doing here?" My breath froze. This was the Omega maternity ward. That distinctive ambergris scent filled the air, rich and overwhelming, as Justin stepped up behind me, his pheromones pressing against the back of my neck. "Morgan," his voice dropped low, "who is he?" His dark eyes were dangerous, laced with dominance. Greg tensed immediately. "And who are you?" "Let him go." Before things got ugly, I jumped in. "Greg's an old friend, works here. I was just visiting him." Then I turned to Justin. "And this is my boyfriend." Greg blinked, stunned, his mouth half open. "So, not your partner, just your..." I cut him off before he could finish, dragging Justin away. "You're feeling better?" I asked, forcing a smile. "Jacob said you only lost control because an Omega leaked pheromones that day." I didn't get to finish. Justin suddenly spun around, pushing me against the wall and kissing me hard. It wasn't gentle this time. It was possessive, almost punishing. That ridiculous alpha possessiveness again. "Are you done venting, Justin?" When he finally let go, I licked my lips, numb but not bleeding. He pressed his forehead to my neck, voice low. "I want to smell your pheromones. You haven't let me in so long." I froze. Just as I was about to lift my head and kiss him again, another voice echoed down the corridor. "Justin, Mr. Marsh is stable now. You should return to him." It was Jacob. I silently thanked him and stepped back. Justin's expression darkened, but he adjusted my hat and cupped my face gently. "I'm here for business," he said in a careful tone, "nothing else." Then, reluctantly, he followed Jacob out. The pregnant Omega he was visiting, just a business partner, apparently. I smiled faintly. He didn't owe me an explanation. After all, the contract stated clearly, during the term of sponsorship, Party B must not interfere with Party A's personal affairs. Justin's memory really was getting worse. After leaving the hospital, I treated Greg to dinner. We talked, though what I really wanted was to make sure he kept quiet. Justin would definitely investigate the hospital records from the past 3 months. Greg didn't speak for a long time. He just sliced his steak into tiny pieces, deep in thought. Finally, he looked up, as if deciding something. "Okay, I'll help you erase those records." I smiled, thanked him, and stood to leave, mask already in hand. He grabbed my wrist. "Morgan, you've changed," he murmured without meeting my eyes. That night, back home, I bought a dozen bottles of cedarwood cologne, testing each until I found one closest to my original scent. Justin's sense of smell was too sharp. I couldn't risk him noticing the difference. I waited nervously for him to come home, but the message came instead: urgent business overseas, temporary trip. He said he'd be busy for a while. That night, I suddenly started feeling the first signs of pregnancy. Nausea hit me in waves. But the next day, I still ended my leave, dragged my luggage, and reported to set on time. Filming this drama meant I could stay away from Justin for 2 whole months. No need to desperately suppress Omega pheromones leaking during certain times. Kelly couldn't argue with me and reluctantly covered for my lies. No one on set knew I had become an Omega. My co-star was an alpha, always putting an arm around me, making me take extra suppressants every day. As the male lead, my scenes were numerous. After 2 weeks, the pregnancy symptoms worsened. Falling ill could happen in an instant. Luckily, the crew had a break the day I couldn't even stand due to fever. I didn't alert anyone, took a fever reducer, and huddled under the blanket to sleep. Normally, 1 pill would do the trick, but I had overestimated my body post-secondary differentiation. In the middle of the night, unable to sleep, I dragged myself up to rummage through my luggage. I had packed a few of Justin's clothes to take with me. Holding them close, inhaling his scent, I felt a bitter ache fill the air, seeping into my chest. It was hard to breathe. My eyelids grew heavy until I finally lost consciousness. I woke up in a hospital. The sharp smell of disinfectant hit me, and instinctively, I pulled out my 4 and ran to the bathroom to dry heave. Kelly followed with a glass of water. "You could have told someone you were sick. Do you know how dangerous last night was?" After rinsing my mouth, he grumbled as he helped me back to bed. I started to apologize but froze. Justin had brought me here last night. A faint trace of his ambergris pheromones lingered in the air. Had he found out I was pregnant? Before Kelly could explain, the hospital door opened. "Morgan, you're awake." It was Jacob. His expression was grim as he set down a fruit basket and thermos. "Justin sent me to take care of you. He's got business at the company." I was speechless, but relieved. That is, until I noticed the red marks on Jacob's neck, evidence of Justin's earlier episode. I left the hospital that night after handling the formalities. On the way back to set, Kelly stopped me. "You don't need the money. Why push yourself so hard?" I didn't mention the emotional strain. Facing the wind, I just asked, "Kelly, this should be my last drama, right?" He didn't stop me again. Back on set, I caught up on my work and threw myself into it. 2 weeks passed in a blur. Justin's company was busy, so he didn't see me. But every few days, someone delivered something, sometimes luxury breakfast for the whole crew, sometimes supplies under my name. And on top of that, Jacob personally handed over a lot of outfits. The meaning was clear. I resisted mentally but couldn't refuse physically. Those items helped me get through the next 2 difficult weeks. When the key scenes wrapped, the director organized a dinner. Everyone got a bit tipsy. Suddenly, someone joked, "The one who keeps sending you stuff, he's actually your sugar daddy, isn't he?" Silence fell in the room. Kelly quickly covered it up, restoring the atmosphere. But the assistant director sat beside me when Kelly was toasting, leering. "You're beautiful, but you're still an alpha. Must have impressive bedroom skills to keep a sugar daddy, huh?" He patted his thigh and slid me a hotel card. "Morgan, I've got resources too. How about a night with me?" "No. My sponsor's obsessive about cleanliness." I smiled politely, refusing. The assistant director snorted, muttering that I was pretending. "Bet you've been played in private anyway. If your sugar daddy were really that powerful, how could I not know?" Justin's wealth spanned business and politics. As his heir, he couldn't publicly support an actor in his own name. So in all these years, few in the industry knew I was backed by him. I kept my polite smile and ignored him, but he ordered a bottle of white liquor from the waiter, intent on forcing me to drink. "Tonight, Morgan, you haven't touched a drop. As the lead, that's not very sincere, right? Finish this bottle before leaving." All eyes were on us. The director and Kelly were in the next room. Security guards surrounded the box. Whether I drank or not seemed under his control. I smiled, reaching for the recorder in my pocket, when suddenly, he was kicked to the ground. The half-closed door was thrown open. An impeccably dressed alpha stepped in, pressing a polished shoe into the assistant director's face. "How dare you threaten him?" The assistant director's face swelled under the pressure. Seeing who it was, he swallowed his curses. "You, how did you get here?" This was the same face that appeared on business magazines. Everyone froze, even me. It took him a while to piece together that the Clean Freak sponsor and Justin were one and the same. Terrified, he apologized repeatedly. Justin finally lifted his foot, then grabbed the 500 milliliters bottle of liquor on the table, voice cold. "Drink, finish it, or don't leave this room." Half an hour later, the assistant director was carried off by an ambulance. The others were shooed out by security. The massive private room was left with just the two of us. I looked up slowly. "Sorry to trouble you to show up tonight. After so long, that's all you have to say." "Not quite." I leaned in, lightly kissing the corner of his lips. Next second, his hand caught the back of my head, pulling me into a deep kiss. On the way back to the hotel, Justin held me tight, refusing to let go, inhaling my pheromones. The cologne was in my pocket. I forced myself to say, "You'll have to wait until after I shower." He nodded, then suddenly sat upright, serious. "If your agent hadn't called tonight, you wouldn't have told me again, right?" I paused. Looking away, I let him assume the answer. I was used to handling problems alone, never troubling him. Even though he always appeared in time, then told me I could try to rely on him. Justin's laugh was almost exasperated. "Morgan, you really are something. Amazing." That night, he didn't even sniff fake pheromones. He hugged a pillow angrily and slept on the sofa. I breathed in the lingering ambergris on the sheets, hugged my blanket and slept well. The next day, back on set, the assistant director was replaced. After finishing my scenes, Jacob delivered a designer suit. "Tonight's a charity gala. Justin wants you to attend with him." I hesitated. "Can I not go?" "Just you going is fine." Jacob's eyes reddened instantly. "But he only wants you, not me. Are you satisfied, Morgan?" He shoved the suit into my hands and stormed off. Why do these two always take out their anger on me? I should make some loofah soup to calm my nerves. They had fought. I didn't bother to find out why. I still changed into my suit and arrived before the gala began. Justin was already waiting at the entrance. I hesitated. "Matching couple suits? Are you sure about this, Justin?" That was basically announcing our relationship to the entire industry. Even if he'd quarreled with Jacob, was this really the way to vent his anger? Still annoyed at how peacefully I'd slept the previous night, Justin snorted. "Do you mind?" I shook my head. "Then let's go in." The moment he stepped inside, all attention turned to him. Fortunately, no one looked at me with disdain or whispered gossip. The night went smoothly, until just before the gala ended. An Omega nearby suddenly entered heat, accidentally releasing pheromones. Justin's face instantly paled. I quickly helped him into the car, ready to buy him suppressant pills, but he grabbed the back of my neck, pulling me close. His breath burned against my skin. "I need your pheromones. Now." "Okay." I took off my jacket and slowly began unbuttoning my shirt, but before I could undo the second button, there was a sharp tearing sound. The collar burst open. Justin had ripped apart the suit, worth millions, like it was paper. The half-healed scar on my nape was exposed, releasing a faint scent of cedar and musk. He leaned in, inhaled, and froze. "Morgan, your pheromones." My whole body stiffened. What about them? "They smell incredible." Justin kissed the back of my neck where the scent was strongest, and bit down without hesitation. Pain made me hiss. Pheromones flooded me the whole ride back. When I stepped out of the car, my knees almost buckled. The alpha, deep in sensitivity, didn't even notice. He dragged me back to the hotel, stripped away what was left of my clothes, and kept taking in my scent as if it were oxygen. It wasn't until late that night that his symptoms finally eased. I crawled away, clutching my aching neck gland. But before I could reach the edge of the bed, he grabbed my ankle and pulled me back into his arms. He kissed me softly, almost tenderly. I stared at the screen flashing curses from social media, suddenly pushing him away. My voice was hoarse. "Justin, when our contract ends, let's not renew it." He froze, then unexpectedly said, "Sure. I don't want that contract either." I blinked, surprised. "Really? You agree?" He nodded seriously. "Because I want to be with Y. Then when I leave, take care of yourself, okay? We spoke at the same time. Justin frowned. What did you just say? Thinking he hadn't heard, I smiled and repeated, I said, I'm leaving. Take care of yourself. Or maybe, live well with Jacob. Seeing him still dazed, I got up, patted his head. I'm taking a shower. Go to sleep if you're tired. I stayed in the bathroom for half an hour, trying to wash everything away. When I finished, Justin suddenly opened the door and stepped in. His face was dark, unreadable. All clean now. I nodded and reached for a towel, but before I could, my hands were twisted behind my back and pressed against the cold marble sink. The chill made me shiver. What are you doing? Justin's smile was sharp, his eyes unreadable. Sorry. I just realized my sensitivity hasn't fully passed. Let me help you clean up again. Panic and exhaustion hit me all at once. Staring at the alpha's shadowed reflection in the mirror, I asked weakly, still not over? This wasn't like a heat episode. It was like he was high on something. Justin didn't answer. He only pushed my legs apart slightly and said, voice like ice, sorry. Bear with it a little longer. His a little longer turned into 2 full days. No food, no rest. By the third afternoon, I woke with a pounding head. My lips were cracked, glands swollen, my entire body sore. I struggled to reach for a fever patch and the leftover 4-line. The pillow beside me was already cold. Kelly nearly went mad when he found me at the hotel. Do you even know everyone's been looking for you? You've been missing for 72 hours. The crew almost called the police. He stopped mid-rant when he saw the bruises on my wrist. Was this, Justin? I gave a faint hum. It's been treated, but I can't film right now. Anything even slightly revealing would scare people. Kelly said nothing more, just told me to rest. After that day, Justin completely cut contact with me. Not a single message, all the way until filming wrapped. At the wrap party, a Rolls-Royce Phantom waited outside the hotel. It was a limited edition, easy to recognize. And sure enough, Justin stepped out, holding a bouquet. He removed his sunglasses and offered the flowers. Congratulations on finishing your shoot. A polite, distant blessing. I replied with an equally calm, thanks. Our contract ends next month, so let's. But, Morgan. Justin smiled faintly, eyes fixed on my abdomen. His next words struck like thunder. You're carrying my child. How do we end things now? I stumbled back 2 steps. My brain spun, and I forced a strained smile. What child? I'm an alpha. I can't get pregnant. What if, Justin interrupted, you differentiated again, into an omega? You didn't really think I couldn't find out, did you? My last line of defense collapsed completely. If the child wasn't his, what right did he have to make me get rid of it? My only blood relative in this world. The contract hadn't forbidden me from seeing others. Meeting his cold, stormy gaze, I forced calm into my voice. You're mistaken. The child isn't yours. The test results show no genetic connection between you and him. The bouquet fell from his hands. Shock flickered across his face, then disbelief, then devastation. He shook his head, mumbling, no, that's impossible. Then, near breakdown, he grabbed my shoulders. Morgan, you're lying just to get rid of me, aren't you? Tell me the truth. Tell me, Morgan. The truth, I bit out, prying his hands off, is that during your 2-month business trip, I slept with other alphas. You know plenty of them like my face. The baby was something I had to keep. As for whatever revenge or punishment Justin planned, so be it. That night ended in chaos, and I returned home utterly drained. I hid away like a turtle for 2 full days, until Kelly showed up, frowning, lifting my blanket and pressing his phone screen in front of my face. Look at what you've done. Justin's gone mad catching cheaters recently, and now the whole industry knows you were playing both sides. Cheating on the air with another alpha. Bravo, really? I groaned and buried myself deeper under the covers. Once the contract ends, I'd go abroad to lay low. The penalty for breaking it was far too expensive, so I'd endure just 1 more month. But before the deadline, Justin came knocking. He looked exhausted in a way I'd never seen before. I thought the humiliation I caused would make him hate me forever. But at the door, his face was grim as he said, this wild child, no, this child, I claim as mine. Morgan, marry me. From now on, his father is only you and me. I will treat him as my own, and one day, I'll hand the whole company to him. If necessary, I'll even change my ID so he can take my surname. I frowned. Looking up, confused, I asked, Justin, am I hearing things, or are you still half asleep? Is this real? He repeated, word for word. Marry me, Morgan. My mind froze. Justin, who despised omegas and illegitimate children, was making an exception, for me. I deliberately released a faint, sweet pheromone. Justin immediately frowned, stepping back uncomfortably. Not even this can be tolerated, and you want to marry me? I can handle it, he muttered, gripping the wall to steady himself. Give me time. I can adapt. But I can't keep taking suppressant pills every day for you, can I? I put on a serious face, sending him away. Justin, go. We really aren't right for each other. Justin didn't leave. He camped outside my apartment for 3 days, nearly getting caught by paparazzi. Just when I reluctantly thought of opening the door, he vanished, likely called away by company business. But Jacob, relentless as ever, appeared. He insisted on dragging me to a cafe to talk. I had no choice. I sipped my latte, calm as the water, and asked, go ahead, what do you want to talk about? You don't suit Justin. Break up with him. I replied, obviously. A while back, he was busy fending off enemies while fighting for power. You were useless and even betrayed him. You're not worthy of him. I said, also obvious. After Jacob droned on with more meaningless chatter, I realized, he was stalling. I glanced at my coffee, now blurry. I tried to stand, to escape, but it was too late. When I woke up again, I was in a hotel bed. My hands and feet were tied, pheromones leaking uncontrollably. Someone was banging on the door. I groaned through the headache, thinking sluggishly, then suddenly my pupils constricted. I shouted at the door, Justin, don't come in. The room was thick with the scent of hyacinth, omega pheromone concentration nearly 80%. For ordinary alphas, it was an aphrodisiac, but for Justin, it could be lethal. I screamed with all my strength to keep him out. 3 minutes later, the door was still broken down. Justin entered, forcing himself past the effect. He untied me and led me out of the suite. But as he held me in the elevator, my consciousness faded. Justin was admitted to intensive care. While he lay unconscious, intimate photos of us surfaced online, and media outlets declared him my benefactor. Public opinion raged, all landing on me. Before the company could react and the stock market fell, I announced my retirement from the industry, taking full responsibility for the negative news. Kelly nearly exploded that day. How much did Justin pay you to take all this heat? I smiled. If it were him, would he let himself get trapped too? He was clearly set up, or using me as bait. Before leaving Jiangcheng, I arranged to meet Jacob. The intimate photos and the timing of the media frenzy, you pushed all this, didn't you? He smirked, didn't deny it. Here to accuse me today, Morgan? Not exactly. I handed him the bottle of cedar-scented perfume. If needed, it can help Justin. After that, it's your responsibility. Jacob froze. That's it? Yes. And, even though I don't fully understand your relationship, if you truly love him, you shouldn't use the company he's painstakingly built as a weapon against imagined rivals. Don't betray him again, for any reason. The day I rushed to the airport with my luggage, Jiangcheng was buried in a blizzard. My flight was delayed by 2 hours. Before boarding, an urgent announcement even mentioned my name, forcing me to stay put. My phone nearly exploded with notifications. I stared through the lounge's floor-to-ceiling window and sighed, reluctantly answering the call. Go back to the hospital. In the snow, someone hurried over in a hospital gown. He was panting, looking up at me. Morgan, don't board the plane. Come home with me. Our contract's expired, Justin. I turned my gaze away. I had paid for my mistakes with infidelity. We owed each other nothing. I know you're worried about the child. I said it's my own. Unrelated to the child. Give me time. I can adapt to your pheromones. I don't care about your life or death. Fine. I'll handle the mess and give you a home. Whether it's your home or the entertainment industry, I never want to return. Just let me go, Justin. There was silence for a few seconds. Just as I thought his patience had run out, his voice rang clear through the phone. Then turn around and look at me. Tell me you don't love me, and I'll let you go. Morgan, turn around. I stiffly faced him. His face pale, eyes almost brimming with obsession. I parted my lips, but words stuck in my throat. Tears welled up. Only then did I realize, the truth was far harder to speak than 3 words of lies. Yes, what was left for us? Between us, it had always been give and take. Remove the benefits, and nothing remained. From the start, exchanging pheromones and bodies for resources and money was a mistake. So, I looked up. Justin, I don't love you. Leave me alone. 28. Justin ultimately didn't follow me. After transferring through several airports and trains, I went into hiding. The destination wasn't overseas. It was a welfare center in the suburbs, sparsely populated. I had long wanted to visit. Seeing me, the director didn't show the expected joy. He looked nervous, pulling out a card. Morgan, I only just managed to gather the money yesterday. I'll return it, please don't hurt me. The card contained tens of millions. Money I had donated over the years, most of my wealth. I realized then that the previous director had pocketed it all. Who could uncover such a thing was obvious. I accepted the card, stunned, then personally donated the money back to the center and stayed for a while as a volunteer. The director resigned voluntarily. Saying goodbye to him was also saying goodbye to the only elder I had. 2 weeks later, the new director surprised me. Greg? He wore work clothes and brought many supplies from the city. I think hospital work isn't for me, so I'll start with volunteer medical work for a few years. I nodded, asking no more. After distributing supplies to the children, he handed me a special bottle of pheromones. Shyly, he said, "Sorry, Morgan, I misunderstood you before. I just realized the former director exploited your goodwill to trick you into donating, leading you astray. It's fine. I was partly doing it for myself anyway. And about your pregnancy," Justin questioned my mentor. "He doesn't lie easily. That's fine too. We were going to part anyway." Greg's eyes brightened. "You really won't get back together?" I paused, twisting the lid of the pheromone bottle. I pressed down the remaining ambergris, feigning indifference. "Yeah, we won't. We can't." 29. The day I left Zhangcheng, all public opinion about me vanished overnight. No more online harassment. But the internet never forgets. Even without photos, people still mentioned that a powerful benefactor stood behind me. This situation persisted until a public interview. A new host, unaware of the weight, mentioned my retirement in front of Justin. Usually, a CEO would avoid such personal gossip to protect the company's stock. But Justin's face darkened like ink, and he gritted his teeth into the microphone. "No benefactor or sugar daddy, we are in a legitimate relationship, a proper couple." After that, no one mentioned me being kept again. Once Greg had settled in, my work became much easier. Seeing him adapt well, I packed my luggage, ready to leave. He froze. "Morgan, you're not going to stay here?" "I'm just here to check things out. There are still quite a few people nearby who know me. Soon, the pregnancy will be obvious. I don't want it to become a media story." After saying goodbye to his disappointed eyes, I moved to a small town abroad. It was scenic and peaceful. Life was quiet, until a new neighbor moved in. The first day he arrived with a large dog. It destroyed all the bok choy in my garden. 30. I was furious, ready to kick his door in. But before I could, the wooden door opened. The evening breeze slipped in through the gap. Seeing who stood there, I fell silent. I stepped back, turning to sneak away. But he grabbed my collar, forcing me to face him. His eyes, tinted by the sunset, were soft. "It's okay if you don't love me." Justin took my hand without asking. We started over. 31. He nearly drove my pheromones out of me. I had no choice but to break free and lock myself inside. Justin didn't rush. The next day, he cooked hot pot in the yard, directing a fan toward my house. The day after, he grilled barbecue. Then came lamb hot pot, sour fish, teppanyaki, spicy chicken. I couldn't take it anymore. I took 2 bites and asked at a distance, "How did you find this place? You said you liked movies from this country, so I guessed you'd settle here." He ignored the effect of my pheromones, leaning close to serve me food. I forced myself to ask again, "And Jacob? In prison?" I froze. What? I said he's in jail. Justin tampered with our privacy, hired trolls, drugged you, multiple offenses, 15 years. I was stunned. "You don't like him?" Justin frowned, a complicated expression flashing. How could I like a subordinate? When I discovered he drugged someone abroad, I called HR immediately for his resignation. But he had too many handovers, that's why it took time. "Wait, Morgan, you always thought I liked him, and that's why you rejected me?" 32. I shifted my gaze, guilty. "But even if you didn't like him, you couldn't handle Omega pheromones." I saw Justin kneel on one knee across the table. "I'm healed now. No matter how much pheromone you release, it won't affect me." He pressed my glands, forcing me to try. I released pheromones, gradually increasing the intensity. It had no effect on Justin. His composure wasn't an act. He pulled a ring box from his pocket, eyes filled with sincere love. "So, Morgan, will you marry me now? I want to give you and the baby a home." 33. We got married abroad. Afterward, I wanted to tell Justin the child was his. But whenever I tried, he jokingly interrupted, preventing me from finishing. Until one heat period, he lost control, jealous, frantically touching my belly. "Which alpha is this? Morgan, can I kill him? I want to. I have to get revenge." I couldn't take it and confessed. "That alpha is you. You pushed too hard during a heat period, triggered my second differentiation, and that's how I got pregnant." Justin was stunned for 3 minutes. Then he buried his head and pushed harder. 34. Later, I asked many times how his condition had healed. He never explained. Until one online morning meeting, I deliberately squeezed mustard into his breakfast, hoping he'd mess up. He swallowed it expressionless. I offered milk with salt, he didn't notice either. My smile froze. After the meeting, he turned, shivering slightly. "What's wrong, wife? Did I do something wrong? Your taste and smell, they're gone, right?" I choked. Justin looked at the bread and milk, then held his forehead, smiling wryly. "No, you're so childish, wife. Next time, I'll put soy sauce in your soda, hey." He gritted his teeth, pressed me into his embrace, and kissed my glands. "Morgan, I do this willingly.